Good morning. It really is early now. It's 5:30 a.m. in central London, where there is nobody, and because it's 5:30 on a Saturday, who's even up? And I'm going to work, so that's nice.
Welcome to another episode of Toby's Stupid Vlog.
So this brings back memories of lots of Sundays spent in this building. Admittedly, a bit later, to be honest. I didn't usually get here until 7. Same nonsense though. There's absolutely no one here. So, except that there's a few people in each studio. One, usually. Ludicrous. And in case you're wondering whether the brands are fully integrated now, that kind of answers your question. And that is pretty much everything else now. That is ludicrous for a number of reasons, partly because they don't seem intent on investing in it, and that seems to be the only thing that matters on this floor. Anyway, right, I've heard that my chipmunks have finally been allowed into the Disney studios, and they've been let through security by Goofy, so that's brilliant. So let's go and find out if they're there and how happy they are. So then, it's 6:20. Yay, I feel like there's too much branding. Actually, hang on, how about this? That too much branding? What is too much branding? So here's a question for you. Everyone's always presumably thinks DJs have a cushy job. They don't. They not at all. Largely because, they're being judged on who they are, but also because every now and again, often regularly, they're asked to get up at, as I did this morning, 4:45. So let me ask you a question. How much would you charge if you were to do 4 hours work, but have to get up 2 hours before that at about 4:45 in the morning for that one day? How much would you charge? And then it all becomes clear, doesn't it? Hi. So it is. It's still the morning. In fact, it's only just gone 10:30, and I'm already back. It's a beautiful day. Like usually, this is the time I get up, and so far today I've done nearly a whole day's work. You might think that 5 hours is not a whole day's work. But I would ferociously disagree. My brain hurts. There we go. Anyway, that is enough global-related things for a while, probably. Every time I leave, I keep thinking, is this the last time I'm leaving this building? And the short answer is, I don't know. It depends. As always, if they can find proper money to pay me, then I'll pop back now and again. But yeah, it's a bank holiday weekend. It's lovely weather. I'm hopefully walking the towpath with Stephen, Tom and Adam tomorrow. But today, we'll just have to wait and see what to do with beautiful weather like this. Welcome to Virginia Water. This is the new pavilion that was opened by Sir Stuart Hampson, Chairman of the Crown Estate, last September. It's nice. It wasn't here when we were here before. Maps and everything. So I don't know if you remember when we came here last time. It was about 2 years ago. That is a Roman ruin. It's not actually from there, it's from Libya, and it's been transported and made to look like it was from here, which is, odd, if I'm honest. It's still quite impressive. Anyway, we're walking around Virginia Water at the moment. It's a strange shape, so we're walking up until the pointy end at the moment. We're right down the other end of the lake now, because, there's another cafe. I just saw a horse box. Maybe that's what I'm smelling. Horse boxes. So we just had a little spot of lunch over in the trees. Now heading sort of back on the other side of the lake, really. But yeah, it's a slightly scenic route. So I think this is the bit that's known as the Punch Bowl. In the spring you get all the flowers down here. You can see what remains of would have been a field of daffodils all the way up, and then now the bluebells are out around there. And then you can see a lot of the flowers, including the rhododendrons, are out, going down the water and down the way towards the lake. It's really impressive down there. Check out the bluebell tasticness. And white bells and pink bells even. It's all coloured bells. And then it goes down here past the azaleas and round. So welcome to the Punch Bowl proper, where there is a sea of azaleas as far as the eye can see, in every direction, every colour.
I love the way they do the orange.
So there's the Punch Bowl in full colour, and 14 million people. We are back in Westfield, where I haven't been for at least about 5 months. But it's actually alright when you're not having to buy anything and you just pop in the Apple store for some repairs and whatnot. So we've made pizzas again. I've made the dough and then we've decorated them appropriately. Look at that, that is a true masterpiece of pizza. There's one in here. It's going. This is my Venetian Lido special. So this is artichoke, olive and anchovy. Hello, happy Tuesday, first day of the week and all that. So yesterday we made those amazing pizzas which were fantastic. In fact, I'm fast reassessing my career. Maybe pizza chef would be a better idea. And they're so good, in fact. I thought I was going to leave a quarter, like the veggie quarter for today, but I didn't. I ate it. So I've made another one. I've made a veggie pizza this time. So the same without the anchovies. Just with some mushrooms instead. In fact, that's it now. So there we go. Had to turn it around, you know, because a conventional pizza oven, you know, those big clay things that you see in a nice Italian restaurant, they go up to like 400 degrees. So they get really hot. So they really bake it really fast. It takes about 3 minutes to cook a pizza. With a conventional oven, they only go up to about 230, 250. So you have to either use a special tray or you have to start them in a frying pan and what have you, and they take about 8 minutes. Still, it's fast dish food, isn't it? I mean, the dough takes an hour, but, you know. I know what I was going to say. It's coming around to radio time again. It always is. And so, you know, I've been doing a bit more radio in this last quarter, so care a little bit more about it, I guess. It occurred to me, though, this morning that when I used to work for Global, very often before the figures came in, you'd imagine I'd be like hoping that they'd be as good as possible. But that wasn't always the case. In fact, frequently, if I happened to be at loggerheads with the management at any particular time over a decision or whatnot, I'd often be rooting for the numbers to go down. And you might think, that sounds ridiculous. And in hindsight, it is completely ridiculous. But it just shows what a stubborn bitch I can be. So it occurs to me now that, of course, that was ludicrous. And because, you know, you want to be able to put good numbers on your CV for bragging rights and whatnot. But yeah, whoever you're working for, however much you love them or hate them, you should be fighting for them. That's how you know that you're in the right job. And if you're not fighting for them, then you should leave. And I suppose ultimately I did the latter. But still, you know, as long as you're there, that's your team. You should be rooting for them. So for all the new people who have got heart stations today, and for all the people who get new radars in a few weeks, just make sure you're rooting for the right side. Just look how beautiful a day it is. Oh, it's quite nice down here too. But it's the blueness, and it's actually a little bit warm, so I'm going to have to take my hoodie off, which is brilliant news. I've never been so happy to be overheated. Making the most of this week. Got a slightly quieter week, and then next week back to Neil's for a couple of days and an evening of filming and whatnot. So this is a somewhat of a rest after last week's global frenzy, but still making some good inroads, finding some good leads for the next set of work that I'll be doing soon. So that's all exciting. So you will have noticed last week that there was no Kerry, which is obviously very upsetting for everyone involved. This is a deliberate decision, I hasten to add. It was a week off for Kerry so she could go and learn some new tunes on the ukulele. Because as you might imagine, this is somewhat of a pressure being forced to perform every single week. Like, we must have new music! So that's what's happening this week as I record it, or last week as you watch this, if you're watching it when it's new. Kerry's undergoing rigorous practicing on the ukulele. But that means by the time this is ready to go up, 1 week later, she should hopefully have a new tune for you. So, over to Kerry. I think I remember this from last year, but check out how overgrown everything is. This dies back to pretty much nothing, soil in fact, in the winter, but in the summer, late spring, it's a jungle. I mean, most of the grasses are about 5-6 foot tall. It's crazy. It's also quite beautiful. It's hard on a day like today not to be very grateful of where you live. You see the City of London in the background there. Very special. Hello there, good evening. In fact, it's gone 6:30. The weather's quite interesting today. It's anywhere between sunny and windy and rainy. Anyway, apologies for not shooting anything today. I've been back in Rickmansworth visiting my parents because my mum's had a hip replacement operation. She won't thank me for telling you that, but that was a couple of weeks ago, so she could be ready for Switzerland and what have you at the end of July. So she's hobbling around. Well, she's not actually. She's basically walking around with a walking stick. It's remarkable. It was only 2 weeks ago. Anyway, so that's where I've been today, and it's where we shall be next vlog on Sunday for my parents' wedding anniversary, which has now been toned down a little bit from the original huge party it was going to be because of said operation. Anyway, I made some brioche this morning. I left it in the fridge to rise. It's probably a little out of control, so I need to get it under control and bake it before Crystal gets back so we can have some burgers. There we go. So the brioche is in the oven. It's looking good so far. It's always a question of whether they rise or whether they sort of collapse into a shield shape. We'll find out soon. Afternoon. Today has been one of the wettest days for a very long time. The plants are very happy and I am not. So I'm finally venturing out in this sort of gap between the rain showers to pay in a reasonably large cheque for the work I did before we went on holiday. That's always a good way to spend afternoon, isn't it? Money. So that is really all that's happening today, plus more pizza this evening, because now I'm essentially a semi-professional baker. Welcome to the gardens. It's been a couple of weeks, no, last week. I was here last week, wasn't I? What am I talking about? But I was only here for one day to look at the bluebells. Thought I'd come for a walk because today's a nice day. It's a bit windy, and there's a noisy peacock, so forgive me on that front, but it's pretty nice otherwise. So I have exciting Kew Gardens news. Exciting if you like Kew. I do. I'm here, aren't I? Which is that they are opening the pagoda to members at the end of May and throughout June. Thursdays only, evenings only, out of hours. But finally, I get to go up the one building that I've been complaining for years that I couldn't get up. They opened it once before, and I lived in Bristol at the time and couldn't go up. And out of all the tall buildings I've been up in London, you've seen I've been up loads. Slightly obsessed with them. St Paul's and the Shard, and the Monument, and Big Ben, and all that. So, but finally, I get to go up the pagoda. Yes! Slightly excited? I think so. Here it is. The big, beautiful beast. I don't know if I've told you the one pagoda fact that I have, which is that it's not a true Japanese pagoda because it has the wrong number of floors. 4, 6, 8, 10. It has an even number of floors, and I believe they're supposed to have an odd number. It's a design thing, and they screwed it up when they built it, but that's what makes it special. And I just look forward to being up there and seeing the whole of Kew. Oh, this incidentally, they built the base. I showed you this a couple of weeks ago. They built a big wooden frame shaped like a giant, and they filled it with plants. And yeah, you will have noticed that when I go on holiday I do the same thing. I just go up the tallest building we can find. You probably saw that in Italy as well. So yeah, there's a theme developing. Anyway, I'm going to go for a bit of a wander and enjoy the weather.
I love it when it's like this in spring and they've let the wildflowers grow up and everything looks like a meadow. It has a totally different feel to when everything's cut back because you've got all these little paths. It's completely awesome.
One of the best things about being an adult is not having to do what you're told by your parents. The place you can't play, things you can't eat, buttons you can't press, all that kind of stuff. And you remember like the first time you were allowed to go into a bar and drink legally. Remember how amazing that was? You're like, oh my God, I'm going to do this every day. Well, you don't. Well, maybe you do, in which case you need help. But otherwise, you know, you do it a couple of times, you have fun, you enjoy yourself, and you learn moderation, as with all things. Well, one of the fantastic things you should be doing as an adult is all those things as a kid you wish you had done, but for some reason somebody stopped you. So, for example, right now I'm sitting in a den made out of a tree, which I'm sure if I'd run in here aged 4 or 5, my mum would have been like, come on, we're going. But the reality is, I'm a grown-ass adult. I can sit in this den. You should do those things more often. Obviously, where it doesn't, you know, where you don't come to harm, not like jump on the wing of an aeroplane or anything crazy, but, you know, you should have fun. You should make the most of these silly opportunities to be silly, for example. There's even bluebells in there and everything. What more could you want in a den?
Well, that's very disturbing. That is the Goodson bench from the Goodson glade that is in there, but it's been moved outside the glade. And they've just left the unlabelled bench in there. Very odd. Someone's been messing with my glade. There will be hell to pay.
You two don't know each other, but
Working friends. Oh, hi. That's as small as he is tired.
you guys in the group.
Yeah, he's the one with the finger pointing at him.
How you guys doing?
Looking confused. It also look red. Oh, it's the tan. Right. I thought it was just the white balance.
So that's the end of yet another week. In fact, I believe that was week 212. Yes, that's right. It's getting a bit full on now. That was good fun. That night lasted a lot longer than I expected. So now I'm going to bed because it is technically Saturday. Good day.